gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, we saw something last Friday we had not seen in a long, long while. An agreement on several important gun-related issues. I'm sure all of you, like me, heard from a lot of your constituents over the weekend. I heard praise for the agreement, and I heard criticism of the agreement. In my discussions with folks over the weekend, I drew on my experience from my real job as a lawyer when it comes to resolving disputes or settling seemingly intractable cases. There's an old saying among litigators, Mr. Speaker, a good settlement is when both sides are equally unhappy, when both sides can declare victory. That surely is the case here. Compromise, which unfortunately some have come to consider a dirty word, requires give and take. And while the fact that we had to negotiate to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers and allow voluntary background checks at gun shows how far we still have to go on gun safety issues, Friday's agreement also shows that we can make incremental gains even on this very contentious issue. We cannot rail against gridlock and hyper-partisanship and then complain when finally two sides which have consistently been unable to work together come together to find, if not common ground, at least a common interest in advancing policies that each has been pushing but been unable to accomplish. As I sat in that press conference Friday afternoon, Mr. Speaker, watching the governor and you, Delegate Gilbert and Delegate Murphy, and of course, many others, I was filled with hope. Hope that perhaps this is just the beginning. Let's do it again on guns. We have a lot more to do to make our communities even safer. Let's do it again on a host of other issues which have divided and vexed us. I have hope, and I bet all of your constituents have hope, that the rest of this session, Mr. Speaker, might yield further opportunities for finding ways to bridge our differences. The governor came here last month and reminded us that his door is always open. This time, the NRA knocked on that door. I hope others will knock on his door, too. He has shown that he'll have that conversation. And I hope that when we knock on your door, you will answer. Virginians will be safer as a result of Friday's agreement. Let's do it again and find ways to make Virginians even safer, healthier, better educated, prosperous, less threatened by climate change, more involved in and treated fairly by the electoral process, and better served by and more confident in their government and its institutions. I know we can do it, Mr. Speaker. We just did. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.